Hi everybody, this is CR6 question number 3 helper video. So hopefully after seeing this, you'll be able to handle number 3. First thing we are going to do is notice that we have equal signs. So I have to draw my ladder. And that means anything I do to one side of the equal sign, I have to make sure I do to the other in order to solve for x. First thing I have to look at is strictly the left side. I'm only looking at the left side because if you're noticing right here, I have variables on both sides of the equal sign. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of parentheses because that's the first step in all equations. Get rid of those parentheses. I have a -2 on the outside of those parentheses. Remember to include the negative sign with the coefficient. And I'm sorry, not coefficient, but with the term of 2. I'm going to go ahead and multiply it by the first term and the second term because that's how you distribute. So -2 times a positive 4x is a -8x. And a negative times a positive is a negative, and 2 times 5 is 10. Notice that the 9x was not a part of the parentheses at all, so all I do is bring that down. Bring down my equal sign in the middle because they do remain equal. And I'm going to go ahead now and look at this side. Now this side's a little bit different because there's no number right in front of the parentheses. When there's not a number, you can always put the number 1 in there in order to distribute properly. I'm going to go ahead and circle that -1. And a negative times a positive is a negative, and 1 times 4 is 4. I am then going to multiply that -1 times a -1x. Remember, there's always a 1 in front of that x if there's no coefficient written. Negative times a negative is a positive, and 1 times 1 is 1, so I have a positive 1x. Now on this side, the 2x wasn't a part of the parentheses, so I'm going to bring that down. And the -12 was not a part of the parentheses, so I'm just going to bring that down. All right, now we have some issues going on because I'm noticing that I have more than 2 terms on both sides of the equal sign. So the first thing I have to do is only focus on one side at a time. And I'm going to do these sides in different colors just to help you see it a little bit better. But if I'm looking at only the left side of the equal sign, I have x's and I have constants, or what I call no's. And the reason why I call them no's is because it's a shortened version for no variable. So I'm going to go ahead and start over on this side with my x's and my no's. Now remember, if this is something you can do in your head, you are more than welcome to do this in your head without making the columns. I only make the columns to help organize my work. I have a positive 9x here, so I'm going to go ahead and write that down. I have a -8x, so I'm going to write that under my x's column as well. And then I'm done with my x's, boom, boom, and I just have a -10 to write under my nose. And I've included all 3 terms. Notice I'm not including any of the terms from the right side of the equal sign because I cannot combine those terms because they're on a different side than the side I'm currently working on. You can only combine terms on the same side of the equal sign. I'm going to draw my line. 9x's minus 8x's is 1x. And I don't have to combine that -10 with anything, so I just bring it down, -10. So this whole side simplified is 1x minus 10. I'm going to bring down my equal sign. Now on this side, I'm just going to use a different color just so you can see it a little bit better. I have x's, it looks like, and I also have constants, which once again I'm going to call no's. So I'm going to make columns now on this side of the equal sign because this will strictly be for the right side terms that I'm going to be working with right now. So here we go. Under my x's column, I've got a positive 2x. I'm going to write that. Cross it out as I go to make sure I've included all my terms. I also have a positive 1x. Cross that out as well. Now under my no's or my constants, no variables, I'm going to write my -4 and I'm going to write my -12. Now I'm going to combine these like terms on this side of the equal sign. 2x's plus 1 more x is a total of 3x's. And then I have a -4 minus 12. Well, remember, my negatives are kind of like my bad guys, right? So if I have 4 bad guys and then I have 12 more bad guys, I'm going to put together or add all of the bad guys that I have. And 12 plus 4 is 16. And because they're bad guys, guess what? They're negative. So this whole side will simplify to 3x minus 16. Beautiful. Now all I have are variables on both sides. So I'm almost getting to a point of getting my x's by themselves. Now, if you remember when we've done variables on both sides in the past, we always want to see our variables on the left side because that's usually where you feel comfortable when you're solving your 2-step equations. So that means I need to get rid of these x's on the right side and bring them over to the left side. Remember, if I'm bringing them over to the left side, I have to zero them out. Right now I have a positive 3x. To get that to be a 0, I have to subtract 3x. Because 3x minus 3x, guess what? It's 0. So that cancels those out. Anything I do to one side, I'm doing to the other. Notice that I'm writing it under the 1x because those are like terms. If I have a positive 1x and I subtract 3x, remember I have 1 good guy, 3 bad guys. I have more bad guys, so I put a negative sign. 3 minus 1 is 2 because I have 2 more bad guys. So I'm going to go ahead and write that negative 2x. I bring down my negative 10, and left on the other side, I still have a negative 16. The awesome part now is that this is just a two-step equation. And because it's a two-step equation, I look to the constants first, and I'm going to try to zero this out so my x's are all by themselves. The opposite of minus 10 or a negative 10 is adding 10, because a negative 10 plus 10 is 0, which is exactly what I want. Anything I do to one side, I do to the other. Remember, I have 16 bad guys, 10 good guys. I have more bad guys, so my answer is negative. I have 16 bad guys, 10 good guys. 16 minus 10 is 6. So I have 6 more bad guys than good guys. I'm going to go ahead and bring down everything on the left side of the equal sign. Notice now I have a negative 2 times the x value. The opposite of multiplication is division. I'm always going to divide by the coefficient in front of x in order to get x by itself. Remember, I'm not zeroing that out because I still want an x on this side. That's why I'm dividing. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 is a fancy form of 1, which is awesome. That's what I want, 1x. And a negative divided by a negative is a positive, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. So that's your final answer. You guys go ahead and try number 3, and good luck.